Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Up next are the key insights from Credentialing 102, a detailed guide to provider enrollment 2025, followed by Credentialing and Provider Enrollment 103. Good day, everyone. I'm Angela, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone to today's webinar. Credentialing and Provider Enrollment 102. I would like to introduce our presenter for today, Yesenia Servin. Yesenia Servin CPMSM, PESC is an expert in credentialing and provider payer enrollment with over 24 years of experience in the healthcare industry. Yesenia has a deep understanding of Medicare and Medicaid enrollment and is a nationally certified credentialing manager and provider enrollment specialist. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Yesenia.
So let's go ahead and jump in. So we are going to try to touch each of these items today. Like I said, 102 is a big, huge chunk of information, right? The whole entire focus of credentialing and enrollment is that we are putting patients first. And the way that we do that as credentialing and enrollment professionals is by making sure that our practitioners are going through the credentialing process and going through the enrollment process, because that process confirms that they are going to provide quality services to the population. And so today's topic, one of the first ones we're going to dive into for 102 is how Medicare enrollment works. So this is how Medicare works. So some Medicare policy updates that have recently been implemented. So some revisions were made, nothing to be too stressed out about. These are specific to nursing homes. So any of you working with nursing homes, you really want to review those updates. So CMS told us back in 2023 that it's all integrated in one. This one is huge, okay? I need you to understand this part of it, the EFT agreement. This EFT must match exactly as what is listed on that entity's IRS letter. Marriage and family therapists and mental health counselors. So reporting changes, and more recently, the MACs are getting very strict with following these rules and these guidelines. Delegated official, this is also important for you to list correctly, and these are the guidelines that they've provided. Providers who do not want to enroll with Medicare, they have an opt-out. It is not mandatory. Let's talk about the survey and certification. So for entities, when there's a new location, when there's a new development, is required to do an on-site survey. Revalidation. So revalidations have come back and they are in full effect. And so you have to make sure you're checking your list on a quarterly basis. Heavy information. So please review on your own time. NPPES, as a credentialing and enrollment specialist, it is your responsibility to maintain the provider's NPPES. The other big news that just came out this month is that PECOS 2.0 is on hold. As you know, this is a big one. You are still required, you as an individual credentialing and enrollment specialist are still required to maintain all of these portals and profiles. What the difference is between a delegated agreement and what it is for a, so let's go through it. We talked about Medicare. We dove deep into what the 855 is for individuals, what it is for entities. We talked about the difference of opting out, the difference of making sure that you are going to the source directly and not asking your friend and not asking your colleague to confirm something for you. You're going to confirm it yourself by talking to that payer directly. NPPES and your responsibilities to the NPPES and all the other profiles, your discovery phase goals. For 102, this is big. I need you to understand what the NCQA is, right? Who they are, what they do. The NCQA sets the standard for health plans. They are the ones who set the taxonomy code set. Thank you so much for being here. I want you to join our next sessions, which is 103, which is a full deep dive into CAQH. Thank you so much, everyone.
Good day, everyone. I am Michael, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone for today's webinar, which is Credentialing and Provider Enrollment 103. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our presenter for today, Yesenia Servin. Yesenia Servin, CPMSM, PESC, is an expert in credentialing and provider payer enrollment with over 24 years of experience in the healthcare industry. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Yesenia.
Hi, and thank you so much for introducing me. Today we're going to review 103 topics. We talked about 101. We did a full session on that. We did 102, and today we're doing 103. So we're going to dive a little deeper. And so we're going to review what it looks like when you're managing an organization that has multiple practice locations, multiple NPIs, multiple practitioners. We're going to talk about how you set up any delegated agreement versus the individual agreements. We're going to talk about the reimbursement, the different tax IDs, again, the multiple NPIs, and we're going to look at the CAQH process from a provider data portal and from that groups module, which is a newer module, and it's very helpful for all of us that are managing groups in terms of enrollment and insurance credentialing. Credentialing is not the same as enrollment. Credentialing means that you are actually verifying the provider's license, education, training, work history. Enrollment is the actual process of reviewing the contract, completing their application process. And then your payers, you have the different commercials, you have government payers, and then you have all the profiles that you have to maintain as a credentialing and enrollment specialist or professional. So the CAQH, we're going to talk about the provider portal and the practice manager portal and the groups module. And then your NPPES is your type 1 is your individuals NPI, and your type 2 is your organization NPI. And then let's talk about the organizations with delegated agreements. If you don't have delegation agreements, then you'll have to continue on with the payer agreements. You know, if it's on a portal, if it's by fax, it's by PDF, you can go into nucc.org and get familiar with all that data that's in that website. When we talk about Medicare enrollment, again, when you're doing it correctly, you're going to log into your own PECOS and pull the information. This is what each of those applications looks like, or that's the name of them, and that's who falls under them. You have to find out exactly where your organization falls and then where your individual practitioner falls. Making sure that you have the correct defined authorized official on file. This is the official language, and then here are the recommendations. So for your organization, your entities, you're going to prioritize that NPPES, that contract, that PECOS. Your government will always be first. These are the policies or steps or checklists, whatever you want to call them. So let's talk a little bit about the licensure compact. So you can use it whether you have delegated agreements or individual. Okay, we actually got through all of our slides. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, Yesenia. And so that does conclude the session for today. Thank you, everyone, for participating. You may all disconnect now. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.